the team is number one. I like and love all the egos we have in the team, and we need all the egos, but we all need the egos for the team. I can feel how much this means for the club, how much this means for our supporters. If somebody does something against the team, he's out.
Can we talk about your brain hemorrhage in 2011?
A league game in Vienna, and it was a set play, wide free kick, and I crashed with a player head to head. And all of a sudden, pain was unbelievable. The blood was already in my head. I had to undergo an emergency surgery. And then I woke up and I see, everywhere the cables and everything. And I said, what's going on? And they could see, they opened my whole head.
Did you go through a period of grieving or mourning what you'd lost?
No, never. I never regret something because I can't change it anymore. It's just learn from it and do it better when you have the chance in the next time.
Oliver, welcome to High Performance.
Yeah, hi.
Please take us back to the moment that you first heard that Crystal Palace were interested in you joining them as their next manager. What did you think?
It's a long time ago, and it was months before I started here. So we got in contact, and I met at first, of course, in a Zoom call, and then speaking to each other. And then I was invited for a home game, but of course always very secret. And it was the plan of Crystal Palace to end the season with Roy Hodgson, because he's such a great manager, and he has such a big appreciation in Crystal Palace, and I think in England and all over the world. And it was the clear plan to end the season and giving him the best end of his career. And yeah, but then, like in football, you never can plan the next month. It happened that they wanted to make a change during the season. I didn't want to do it, to be honest, because I always wanted to have a pre-season together and not starting during the season. But yeah, then they just said, come on, let's do it. We would like to have a change. I watched a few games and I thought, okay, there is a lot of potential in this group, in these players. And then let's do it. No risk, no fun.
So what did you see as the biggest risk of taking over a team mid-season?
It's every manager, every coach has his own idea of how the team should play. And I think there's never a right or wrong. It's just your ideas, and you're getting the ideas. And it's not important what's your idea. It's important that you can transform it into the minds of the players, because they have to execute it on the pitch. They have to know what to do. And also when they always have to think what they have to do, this makes you slow. Yeah. And then you to find automatism, that they don't have to think, that they're just reacting naturally on the different situations. And this just takes time, because otherwise you don't need a coach. And also we were struggling at the beginning of this season, and then we knew it, so it was very calm within the club. Everybody, we had 12 players without any preseason, and I told my chairman, I said, if this had worked, I give 3 months off this summer, because then we don't need to train. So why should we train 6-7 weeks if 1 week is enough? Everybody can enjoy their life in summer, but that's not how football is working. So we need time to train together. We need time to get each other known. We have to build a group. Is also, you don't enter a company, you don't know the employees, and then you twist with your fingers and everything is running and is working. So this just takes time. And this is what, also to be honest, I didn't expect that it starts working that well so quickly.
So you're right that the one thing you didn't have was time. So on the day that you arrive into Crystal Palace, how do you decide what to say to the players? Because first impressions are important, but you had to have an instant impact.
It's not, to rush in and say, hey, from today, we change everything. No, it's, keep the good things. And there were many good and positive things already here. And also adjust the things we want to improve, but step by step. And we had many injured players. And then it was also not to overload them. This was maybe the most of the things we were talking about in the stuff. And then we decided, okay, maximum 1 message per week. What we want to change, that it's that it's not too much, because then we are, what I told before, the players start to think, what should I do, what I have to do?
Yeah.
This makes you slow, and we can't afford to be slow in a game.
So what was the first message?
The first message is always, I have a few, I always say, non-negotiables. And this is, the team is number one. So I like and love all the egos we have in the team. And we need all the egos, but we all need the egos for the team. And the first message, I think, was, I accept every mistake. It's no problem. We are human beings. We make so many mistakes. It's no problem. But if somebody does something against the team, he's out. And this is the only non-negotiable thing we have. And and we have great characters. We have great egos, but they use their egos for the team. And this is how we started.
So that seems quite a strong principle that you have, Oliver. Where did you learn or develop that idea that the team has to come first?
So first of all, I think I'm a very social guy. For me, it's always a community is as I told before, we're all living together. And when we go away from sports, and if we support each other, we have a better life, than always, hoping that he's not doing well or something. No, it's the opposite. I like, and I'm pleased when my neighbor is successful, and it's the same here in football. And the second thing is, maybe it's because I played for all of my career for a small Austrian club, and we could win the cup twice. It was a massive achievement for this club, playing international football, and we could just achieve it as a team. We knew that we didn't have the money to compete with all the other clubs, but it showed me, when we work together, we have a great spirit in the group, we can achieve more than maybe the individual qualities. And I think this is the biggest difference from team sports to individual sports. When it's tennis, then it's very often it's just me against him, with all the components you have. But in a team, maybe there are better individuals than we have. But when we work as a team, then it's possible to win against them.
What are the other non-negotiables that you brought to the table?
No, I think it's the same, not too much. And then it's get the people known, get the players known, their personalities. And then the second thing is, we started to create an environment. And was the second message. And I think here, especially here in England, is, all the training grounds, they are closed. And I told the players, I would like that everybody, not just the players, everybody in the staff, when we enter the training ground, everybody can be himself. So I think this is the best thing we all can have as humans, as human beings, that we can be ourselves. With all our strengths, all our weaknesses. We don't need to be perfect, but that especially the players, they're so. Everything is so public. I also say, okay, maybe sometimes it's their fault because they post so many things on social media, but it is, and I know when they want to go out and it's find the right location, that you don't get or photographed or filmed or something like this. But I said, when we enter here, then it's our group, and then be yourself, express yourself as a human being, and the same on the pitch as a player. We want to see your strengths, because I believe if somebody always tells you, you have to do what you can't do, you lose a lot of confidence. And so if you tell me, Oliver, sing here, I lose a lot of confidence because I can't sing. But it's the same with the player, and so we try that we find, or that that the players play in positions where they can show their strengths, where they can express themselves, to have confidence what they're doing, and of course always accepting that they can make some mistakes, that they can make wrong decisions, because this is also part of the game, and therefore we have to know the people, we have to know the player, not just as a football player, but also as a person, because 25 individuals, coming from different environments, growing up in different areas, different part of the world, different religion, different culture, different age. everyone is unique, yeah? And this fitting together like a puzzle, I think this is the most exciting part of being a manager.
So can you give us some ideas on how you go about discovering the individual?
It's watching, talking, listening. And also, it's at the beginning, I let my assistants doing most of the parts on the training ground and watching, how the players are reacting on different situations, if somebody misses a chance, how is he reacting in training? Yeah. What is the reaction of the group? Do they support him or do they point on him, and blame him? And this to get the feeling on what I like is, and then we have, it's the same. I always say we never should forget that we're living such a privileged life. We meet in the morning, then there is breakfast. You go to the chef, you get your fried egg or whatever you want after training. You get your lunch, and also on lunch sitting there and talking to the players, and then also not always talking about football, yeah, about the families, maybe the friends, and listening, yeah. Or I like to go into the gym, and there is on the pitch, it's always you are the manager, you are the gaffer, and you're always judging the player in a way. But there is a more relaxed atmosphere, and then talking about this, and then I always want to know their background, because then I can intervene a little bit better, yeah, when I know more about their background. And it is, it's the same if you have, and that's what I mean. If I have 3 children, for example, and everybody knows who has children that sometimes they are sick, sometimes they don't sleep in the night, so you don't sleep well in the night. Yeah? So they come the next day, eyes are small, maybe he doesn't have the best performance. So, and then you say, come on, what's the matter with you? Why you don't perform? Okay, well, I just slept 2-3 hours because of the children. And then if I know this, yeah, then I can deal with the situation in a different way than maybe when another guy is coming, and also you can smell that he had a huge party night, so because then I have to intervene in a different way. And this is, again, you have to know their background. And for me, it's always, it's human first. Yeah. And that doesn't mean that they can do whatever they want, because again, it's human first and it's team first, and this is what we have to bring together.
And when you spoke to your captain, manager to captain, about the club that you'd arrived, what were the issues? What were the things that you needed to quickly solve? Because it was 10 defeats in 17, I think, before you arrived.
Yeah. So first of all, I don't like to look backwards, because we can't change it anymore. It happened, and it was just, what are they feeling? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
what were they feeling?
Yes, of course, lack of confidence. If you lose many games, you don't have confidence, many injured players, then yes, and okay. And then I said, it's a cut, of course, a new manager is always a cut. And I said, we can change what happened, but we can change what will happen.
Now, the season ended well. You had the summer, which you wanted. This season began, and it didn't begin in the way that you or Crystal Palace would have wanted. Would you mind sharing with us, because we saw the results, we saw the football, would you mind sharing with us your own personal experience at the start of the season, how you were feeling at that point?
First of all, I didn't have the summer I wanted to have, because, and that was, we expected it like that. This could happen. Yeah?
How do you mean?
Yeah, we had 4 players playing or being involved in the final at the Euros with England, having 2 players being involved with Colombia in the Copa final, having Mateta at the Olympic final. So that means 7 players, usually 7 starters for us, arrived 10 days or 4 days before the Premier League start. So we didn't have a preseason with these 7 players. So then we had Ismail Assar, a signing. He arrived also 10 days before the start of the Premier League. So it's number 8. And we had 4 deadline day signings. So we had 12 players, and this is 50% of our group without a preseason, or maximum 10 days. Honestly, we started to train with this group by mid of September, because with the deadline day signings, then was the international break. And then when these players came back, we started to train.
Yeah.
And then we knew, we could see it with all, we get all the data in training. We were not physically, we were not fit. also it was mentally, also our players, they are not used to play a tournament until the end of the season, or until the end of the tournament. They were mentally tired, a little bit exhausted, very short break.
Yeah.
We had signings who were not allowed to train with their former team. Ismail Assar didn't have a team training for 4 months. So how can we expect that he's on his top level after 10 days? David Copperfield maybe, but not Oliver Glasner. And Eddie Nketiah was not allowed to play anymore for Arsenal. Trevor Chalobah wasn't allowed to train with Chelsea, with the team. Yeah. And then we had to start. We could see also, we were not so far away from getting a point, from getting a win. We lost most of the games by 1 goal. But then it is, and this is also how I live my life. I think, it's my conviction is, if you invest in something, you get something back. And then it was time to invest, training, invest in the team, invest in the group, in the spirit, in the tactics, in our.
And what are the characteristics that you look for then in the people you bring into your culture?
I'd say that it's good guys. We're looking for good guys, first of all.
Define that for us.
Yes, it's you always have a Zoom call or meeting the player in person, talk to him, getting a feeling, always asking them what are their expectations of Crystal Palace, what do we expect, what how he sees us, how he can how Crystal Palace can have a benefit from his strengths. Yeah. Also what we think, what he can bring into the team, why we want to sign him. What is his personal goal? Always, if somebody tells me, okay, extend my career by 3 years, and I don't care, getting a good money every first of the month, so then it's the wrong one. Yeah? We're looking for ambitious players. We are looking for players who want to improve. So this is the environment. For me, is always try to improve day by day.
Can we talk about your brain hemorrhage in 2011? For people that don't know the story, would you mind telling us what happened?
Yes, it was a league game in Vienna, and it was a set play, wide free kick, and I crashed with a player head to head, and I went down, but I was conscious, but I was a little bit dizzy, so I went off. I had a cut, was bleeding. And then the doctor said, okay, no, you can't play anymore. And I went off, went to the hospital. They made an X-ray. Nothing was broken. They stitched my cut. And then it's like, did you lose your conscious? No. Did you vomit? No. Okay, it's a small concussion. Nothing broken. So going home, doctors, then next day I met him again, said, okay, small concussion. You need to rest 2 days. But this was Sunday. And on Thursday we had an Europa League game at Copenhagen, and said, okay, but I want to play there. Of course, we won the first game 2-0, was the regame, and said, okay, Monday, Tuesday, no training, but Wednesday should be okay. So going there, Wednesday training without any heading, was fine, no problem. And then the game was Thursday in the evening. In the morning, with like an activation on the pitch, and I said to my assistant, I said, come on, kick a few long balls. I need to try what's going on when I'm heading the ball. And I made 3-4 headers and had huge pain. And I went to the manager and said, it makes no sense in the evening. I would really like to play. I was the captain at that time. But I'm worried that, it's not, you don't have so many headers, but I'm worried maybe there's a ball I need to head, but I'm afraid, and I don't take the header. We're conceding a goal. I said, I think it's better I don't play. Okay, no problem. Then going back to the hotel, taking the shower, and all of a sudden pain was unbelievable. And I was lucky that we all were 2-bedroom,
a double room, twin room.
And my teammate was there and said, please call the doctor. And it's still the last thing I can remember. So I was back conscious. It was not that I lost it, but I just spoke. Now everything I'm telling now is what the others told me. And then later I was reading in the what you get from the hospital afterwards. And then I was just talking stupid things. The doctor came, he could see my eyes going somewhere around, and they brought me to the hospital in Copenhagen. Fortunately, they had a very good hospital. I think it's the same where Eriksson was then later, after he collapsed at the pitch. And I had to undergo an emergency surgery. But then they called my wife. She was in Austria. She was waiting for the kickoff at 8. And then all of a sudden, I think 6 or 6:30, they called and said, okay, we have to do an emergency surgery with your husband in the head. But you have to say okay. And then she was, wow. So the worst time it was for my wife, because she said, she spoke to our doctor and he said, oh, yeah, it's necessary. And she said, okay, then do it. And of course, then you start at home looking at Dr. Google, when what this happens, then you see, it's
never good.
That's it. And, you see, it's more than 50% are dying, and then, waiting for what happens.
Was that the number, more than 50%?
Yes. So it was at the end. So this is, I can't prove it, but, the blood was already in my head from the crash on Sunday. But it was not that worse. So nobody made an MRI or a CT. So, and on an X-ray, you don't see it, And this was there. And very often when you have this, and then, of course, then I read about it later. You are sleeping during the night, the blood starts to expand, and you don't wake up anymore. This is what happens sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think this heading started that the blood expanded. Yeah. So maybe it saved my life. So I don't know, but this is what I'm believing in. And then I had the surgery, and I couldn't remember. So then I get up the next day. The last thing I took the shower in the hotel, and then I woke up, and I see, everywhere the cables and everything. And I said, what's going on? Where I am. Pressed the button, the nurse came in and said, what's going on? Stay calm. And surgery. I said, yeah, what? And then I realized, maybe I take my phone. It's somewhere. It was next to the bed. And then I turned the camera, and they could see, they opened my whole head. And then I rang again. But it was in she told me what happened, and I fell asleep immediately because of it. And so this is how it happened. Then my wife, my best friends, they came up to Copenhagen because I couldn't go home with the team. The one physio stayed for 2 more days, but I was just laying in the bed and sleeping. Then I got fever. Nobody knew where it comes from. I didn't eat. I lost 8 kilos in this week, and after 8 days, I could fly with the emergency
helicopter.
No, not helicopter, a plane.
Right.
And where I could lay, and they brought me into an Austrian hospital. There I had to stay 1 week longer. They made some tests with me, so it was already a little bit better. And then they could see that the blood was on the left side, and when you're right-handed, there is the center of speaking. On the right side is the logical part. And they made some tests, and they could see I had just, when 50% is the average, I was by 3%. So I couldn't remember some words. I was speaking slow. Of course, I was very tired the whole time. And then I started, great doctors at that time and great support. Learning all these things again, doing many exercises.
So what did you have to relearn?
Just to activate all, when there is blood, many cells are destroyed, and then it's activate everything again. And it's, you don't know at the beginning, how quick it will come back. So this also, nobody knew. But they could see that I'm improved quite quick.
Yeah.
And then they said, we believe that it will be the same like before, because we can see such a big improvement in a few days. But also at the beginning, I walked 5 minutes, then I slept 3 hours. So I was really, really exhausted. I slept maybe 16 to 20 hours a day.
Huh.
And then it's interesting, yeah. And this is they told me, your brain needs to recover. Yeah, and then I thought, okay, and it needs to learn a lot again. So why little children are sleeping so much? Because the brain has to learn so much. You need this time for your recovery. And then I also could say, okay, I don't need so much sleep anymore. And it got better and better, but it took me a few months, and then I was fine. I made always these tests. I had great exercises, games, it's what I could play with my children. They were small at the time, where you have to remember, memory. Yeah. Just easy games you like to play in memory. You turn the cards, and it was tough at the beginning, and it got better and better, and all these things. And after a few months, I was back, and
what about your playing career? When did you start to reflect on what that would mean for your career as a footballer?
I don't remember many things, but what I really remember, and this maybe influenced me or for my upcoming life, is when you're laying there having 40 degrees fever, really down. My wife gave me really 2-3 spoons of soup. This was everything I could eat at that time. I remember nothing was important. Nothing. Just having my family here around me. This was the only thing I cared about. The only thing. Nothing, football was not important at that time. Money was nowhere. Nothing. Yeah. And this is really, I appreciated my two best childhood friends visited me there. They accompanied my wife. And my oldest son was here. And this was the only thing I cared, And laying there and always falling asleep, but knowing they are around, this gave me in this situation a lot of power and confidence. And this is also for me now, maybe helps me that all the noise that we are in football is so much is going on and so much is the same. I know it's important, but it's not really important.
Yeah.
And this is what maybe I learned, or maybe in a tough way, but I really learned that there are many more important things than our job and then money or success, because what's real success? I think we could talk about it hours about this.
It's a great reminder, isn't it, that sometimes things that are really hard for us and they're really difficult for us are still really important for us. And it may well be in the years to come the most valuable thing that you've ever experienced, actually.
Yes, I think I heard, I don't know who said it, a really great quote, but it's, easy times create easy men and tough times create tough men. And it is, if and that's why I also think it's important that we, that our children, they're growing up in real wealth, and not just because of the money, everything is, when I compare it to my parents or grandparents, my grandparents, they lived in World War II, yeah, and it's, not, you have to overcome difficulties, yeah, to develop. And this is what I said. Okay, sometimes you need to lose. We don't like to lose, yeah, but you need it to learn from it, yeah, because when it's part of the life. I don't know any life of anyone who was just successful. I don't know this guy. I think also then you don't value the success you have, because when you lose, then you value the next win much more. Because when you're just winning, then it gets normal.
But did you have to grieve for your former life? Because it's ended quite suddenly here as being a footballer, and now this injury has caused you to have to reappraise what's important. Did you go through a period of grieving or mourning what you'd lost?
No, never.
Here's the truth. Your body is like an engine, and you need to keep it at its best day in, day out. I mean, think of it this way. You wouldn't fuel a racing car on cheap fuel, so why are you doing similar to your body? I take Heights Vitals. I take them every single day. They stop me feeling run down, sluggish. I used to have brain fog, not anymore. 2 small capsules. These act as my premium grade fuel. I'm keeping with the racing metaphor. So Vitals are a blend of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, omega-3, all the Bs, basically everything you need to perform at your best. So if you're looking for something that keeps you in the driving seat with your nutrition, your brain and body health, then this is it. Taken by athletes, Olympians, and even some well-known racing drivers. This stuff works. So if you're looking to fuel right this year, go to heights.com/Jake or enter the code HP20 at checkout for 20% off your first order and start your journey today.
No, never. I never regret something because I can't change it anymore. It's just learn from it and do it better when you have the chance in the next time, because it's you always take decisions every day. So you don't think, do I drink a coffee or a tea? And small things, but also different things. Yeah, and I said 30 years ago, this year it will be 30 years, I was out in a party, and there was a girl, and, do I speak to her or not? I spoke to her, and she's now my wife, and we are together for 30 years. It was the decision I took and influenced my life. Yeah. So maybe if I don't say anything to her, my private life had gone into a different direction. So this is just, and the good thing is I don't have to regret it. So, and it's the same. Then it's time, and it was the time. Yes, I wanted to play longer. The plan was to retire 1 year later, because there was 100-year anniversary of the club. I was playing for 18 years, and was the plan. But maybe I had extended my contract by 1 more year because I felt good. I was playing. We were just winning the cup because that's why we played European football. I felt well. I loved what I was doing. But then it was over. Yeah. And then it makes no sense mourning and complaining why it's over. Then my focus, of course, the first time was get well, get healthy again. This was the most important thing. And then, okay, what will be the next challenges? What can I do? And yeah, then I started my second career.
And how long did that take then until you felt recovered enough to plan the second career?
Yeah, it took a few months. Then everything was okay. And it's the same, like always in football. It came quicker than expected. It was the schedule. At that time at Red Bull Salzburg, they got a new CEO. I knew him, and he said, "Oliver, I would like to have you as my, let's say it really, as my football brain here." Yeah. Right. He's a lawyer, more from business, but not from the beginning. He started, I think, in the beginning of January. Not at the beginning, maybe in March, April. You come. So I was on holidays with my family in the Caribbean Sea. He calls me 6th of January. "Oliver, I need you immediately." I said, "What do you mean immediately?" "Yeah, on Monday." I said, "Hey, I'm in the Caribbean Sea with my family, 3 children, my wife." "No, you have to be here Monday." I said, "I can't be here on Monday, but I can start 1 week later." And I think it was, 12th or 13th of January. I started there in the office like a sporting coordinator, because I was studying. When I was a player, I never wanted to depend on football. So then I started studying economics beside playing football, right?
Yep.
And for 7 years, I graduated in economics. And then I thought, okay, Oliver, you didn't study 7 years for then becoming a manager. It was really at the beginning. So then I was in the office like a sporting coordinator, combining my football experience as a player with my study as in economics. So this was the idea. But after 6 months, I felt it's not the right thing for me, being the whole day in the office and just calling. And then say it's coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. It just had to be. There was a change at Red Bull Salzburg at that time. Ralf Rangnick came as a new football boss, and I was still sporting coordinator there. And we were on training camp, and we made a run in the morning together before breakfast. And he asked me, Oliver, where do you see yourself? What do you think? I said, after 6 months in the office, I'm really missing the grass and football, working with the players. And he said, we're looking for an assistant coach. Roger Schmidt at that time became manager. We're looking for an assistant coach. You know the Austrian League. You know Red Bull Salzburg was here. Maybe you can become assistant coach. Let's have lunch with Roger. If you think it fits, if he says it fits, you can become assistant coach. And this is how my managing career started.
I love that. Again, another, what we call in the UK, sliding doors moment where you can't plan it, but it just so happens to work out well for you. I'm really interested in how you make decisions. How do you learn to say no to things as well as saying yes to things? What's the secret to that?
I always take decisions, but I have to, I don't know if you say the same in English, I always have to look into the mirror, you know, and see, okay, I do the right thing. Yeah. So I have to, it has to be, it has to fit to my values.
Yeah.
So for me, it's in many situations, I don't need a contract, you know. If I say, I do this, I will do this. You can rely on me. And it's the same, but this is the same what I expect from the opposite. You know, you have to rely on each other. You have to trust each other. If you're working together, if you're living together, this is for me. This is and this is how I take the decisions. And I think the same is I'm responsible for my family and for Oliver Glasner. And so I never care if somebody I don't know likes it or doesn't like it, because I can't make it fine for everyone. But these people who are around me, these people I feel responsible for, they have to accept this decision by 100%.
And how good are you at making a decision then moving on? Once you've made that decision, are you very good at moving forwards?
Yes. I think this is, I don't know why, but as I mentioned, I never regret.
Ever?
Not really, no. It's gone.
Yeah.
And it just makes my life tougher. Maybe it's a little bit of self-protection because I don't like to always think about the past and when you always thinking, should I, could I, whatever, life is not really good, to be honest. So then it's better looking forward and what can I influence? And maybe when the same situation comes up again, you get a second chance. And also what I'm really believing in is that everything that happens is for a reason.
I love the idea, though, that you're a patient man in an impatient world. You're a man that's happy to wait rather than rush the process of getting there. How do you teach that to some of the young men that you're responsible for?
I think if you talk to the people around me, they will say always everything but not patient. So sometimes I have to be careful. You know, I'm so ambitious that it's not too much for my environment. You know, to demand too much things too quickly. Yeah, and that's also is good to have great assistants. You know, also people I really know for many, many years. And they are not just assistants, they are friends. And then when they feel this, okay, they say, hey, Oliver, stay calm. You know, maybe once take care, and maybe this time is too much.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's good because I trust them, and they can say this, and then I'm reflecting and saying, okay, maybe it was too much, and this also then it can be, and it's happened in every single club. Then I apologize in front of the team.
Can you give us an example of that then?
I tell you a story when I managed Linz, and because this is also was we were on a training camp in Spain with a friendly game. Played terrible, but winning 2-1. Played terrible, and then I was really let's say, loud in my technical zone. We were shouting to the players because I thought, come on, I can see anything what we were training. So, and then after the game, as we were winning 2-1, but we were terrible. After the game, a player came to me, an experienced player, but good, and said, Oliver, I know you want the best for the team, but I just can tell you, today, I think it went into the opposite direction. It felt so aggressive that you didn't help us. It more, how you say, when you lose, we lost the confidence. It was too much, he said to me after the game. And we went back, in training camp, and with the game, we went back by coach, that their recovery, and it was about 2 hours to the dinner. And I was in my room, and I was just 2 hours thinking about this message from the player. And then I thought, he was right. I wanted to help them, to support them, but obviously it was the wrong thing. And then, okay, what can I do? And then we had dinner, and I said, they wanted to go to the buffet. I said, no, please wait. And then I said to them, guys, I want to apologize for my aggressivity, for my shouting, because what I always ask you and demand is that you give your best. And I could see you gave your best, but it wasn't really good. But then it's not the right thing that I shout at you. So sorry for that. And the reaction was applause from the team. But I didn't do it to get an applause. Yeah. But what our connection got stronger. Yeah. So also, and this is what I said. For me, it's not then. Let's say there's the manager. It's a different level than the players. We are all the same for me, because we all want the same. We want to be successful as a team. And when I said we don't need egos in a team, then we don't need the ego of Oliver Glasner in the team, because he's also part of the team.
Yeah.
And this it was in Linz, and this helped, I think, also this connection between us, that we achieved after the first year of promotion the Europa League, and in the second year qualifying for the Champions League. So and all these steps, is when we're talking about personal development, it's always about reflecting things happen, making mistakes, and hopefully learn from it.
But to me, the hero of that story is your player that has the courage to come and give you the feedback, because it's possible that you might not receive it.
No, that's what I say. I think it's important that I know the players, and the players know me, and they know me, that they can tell me everything, and also this is the environment I want to create, because I'm not perfect. I will never be perfect. So if something helps that can improve our performance, tell the gaffer here, tell the manager that he did wrong.
Has there been a time this season where someone has either said to you, that was not quite right, or that you've apologised for something and it's brought you and your Palace players closer?
I'm pretty sure that I apologized for something. I don't really remember what it was. It was, I think, not such a huge issue than it was at that time, so that they felt I took the confidence away, because I think this is the worst thing you can do as a manager, that you are responsible, that the players lose confidence. So this was really huge that he told me this. That's why I really had to apologize in this situation. I think there was not something huge, but I think there were one or two smaller issues, and it's the same, it's I think maybe one of my staff reminded me and said, Oliver, maybe here or that. But it was also the opposite side, that I was really, we had a moment I was really upset. And then also I told the players quite direct that we have to change something if we wanted that changes will happen.
What, this season, or when you were at?
This season.
Really?
Well, I don't want to talk about it. It stays between the players.
I get that. But when you say something like, we need to change to see a change, how do you explain then what the players need to change? Do you make it really clear with them?
Yeah, of course. So the first thing is, I always start to change something. So because I can't expect that it's the same. I don't point with the finger. You have to change. I say, we have to change something, and then I always start with myself. Yeah, and this then I tell, okay, this is my learning, and this is what I will change.
Right.
So the players always decide what happens. They just get, let's say, my advice. Yeah, because it's the same when I say, the ideas I have in my mind is not so important if it's not in the mind of the players. And here is the same. If they don't want to do it, if I want them to do it, but they don't want, it won't happen. So also maybe go, if you, and it's the same with children. When you say, okay, they should learn mathematics or a language. So, but they are not ready for it. Yeah. You can tell them, okay, you go 2 hours into your room and learn. If they don't want, nothing happens. Nothing happens. Yeah. So you can't tell them. So you have to convince them that they get an advantage. We get an advantage. Yeah, and this is what I always try to show them. And I say, okay, it's and that's at the end. It's how football is going. If things don't work, the manager gets sacked. That's it, yeah. But also very open, at the end, every single manager, then you get quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the players have to deal with the shit situation because they have to stay, and then they are responsible to change it.
So how do you deal with people that don't want to pull in the right direction? So you can persuade 80% of the group, this is the direction we're traveling in, but you'll always get some dissenters or people that disagree. How do you deal with those?
Not really, to be honest. So and of course I talk to them and try to convince them. Of course I think, as mentioned, we demand a lot from the players, but we try to show that they have a personal benefit and we have a benefit as a team, and it's the same. When we are winning, everybody is enjoying the last 3 months is much more than the beginning of the season. Yeah. So the mood. Everybody wants to be successful, but and this is also, I think, it's sometimes because everybody says, this is our goal. Our goal is to win the title or to win this and this. But I think sometimes it's their wish. And there's a huge difference between wish and goal, because I told the players once this story. But I said, I wish. My daughter turned 14 last year. Her biggest wish was going to a Taylor Swift concert here at Wembley. And, she hoped that mom and dad fulfill the wish. Yeah. But she didn't need to do anything for it. Yeah. And then the wish got fulfilled. Yeah. She could watch the Taylor Swift concert.
Did you go?
No, I brought her there. But if you have a goal, you have to invest something to achieve your goal. Yeah. Because otherwise it's a wish, and then you have to do something to achieve your goal. Yeah. And this is the difference. And this is what I'm telling the players. If players don't want to invest for the team, they have to leave.
So what's your goal for Crystal Palace?
My goal is that we always try to improve. This is because this is, let's say, creating a learning environment.
Yeah.
And not just improving as a football player, developing as a human being. And I really love this, and because I think it's not just in the world we are now living with all the problems we have. A dressing room in football. It's I think you can learn so much. The world can learn so much from it. Because there is no racism, nothing about religion, wherever. How old you are, nothing about young. It's a group of different human beings working together to be as successful as possible. Yeah. Let's say this is we would wish that this happens in all over the world, and this you always can learn from it. And creating a learning environment, improving, enjoying the time we have together, and creating moments for our life. And this is for me the biggest value I personally have from being a football player or a manager, because these moments, not winning, for example, winning the Europa League is gone. I never had a look at my medal anymore. It's not important. But Frankfurt is playing here against Tottenham in London, visiting them at the hotel, visiting some members of the staff, some players, and talking about this time, and then we were all having a smile and enjoying this time, these memories, these emotions, this is what lasts forever. Yeah?
So when you think about Crystal Palace playing at Wembley, Crystal Palace 2 wins in the FA Cup from their first major trophy in the history of the football club, you maybe don't think so much about the winning of the silverware. You think about the creating of the memories.
Yes, not just for us. And for me, winning at Fulham in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup, I could feel it as soon as I entered the pitch. It's a special atmosphere, because 4 or 5 weeks before we played in the league, it was a great atmosphere as well. But here it was from both sides, from Fulham and from our supporters. It was something special. Yeah, I really, at Fulham we have to walk across the pitch. I sat there and I said to my assistants, that's why I love football. Yeah, it was this tough 15 minutes. Yeah, and then we were winning the game, and afterwards I could see the players celebrating in front of the fans. You are looking into the faces of the fans. Everybody is happy, smiling. I don't know, 6-year-old kids, 86-year-old grandmothers and granddads, having, and these moments, and I could see what we did made so many people happy. Yeah, and this is what I love. Yeah, and then going home. And it was because it was Saturday noon, and really then I had to, because usually I'm exhausted after a game. I was really laying 1 hour on my sofa and just, it's like, wow, being happy and enjoying this moment. Yeah, and of course we knew the next day we start again. But this and this is also when we are talking now about playing at Wembley. Yeah, so I know it's something special, and it's fulfilling the expectations at the beginning, or maybe being better than the expectations are. I know, or I can feel how much this means for the club, how much this means for our supporters, and the supporters, are human beings, and not just having a good life in our group in Palace. Many people having great moments, having great times. They will remember, yeah. And this is something. And I was part of this group, yeah. And I think this is what every one of the players can be proud of. That you did. Maybe that's a little bit, I don't know if it's the right word, pathetic. It's. But this is, what I'm really feeling is. That's the best thing, that you can make people happy, you can make people laughing, you can make people enjoying.
So what will you say to your players ahead of that game, so they're not overwhelmed by the expectation of making people happy in that semi-final?
No, and then I think then it's the circle we're speaking. Be yourself. Most of these games, be yourself. Express yourself, show your strengths. I don't know if we win, I don't know. Villa is a great team. I said, enjoy this atmosphere, and we are playing there because we played who we are and how we are. So don't change it. Show who we are and show what we want to do. And we give our best, and then we will see. I don't know if we win, but I think and it's again, we will meet the day after the game, and then we look into our eyes and say, hey, we did it our way. We expressed ourselves, and hopefully we won the game.
Can I ask you 2 questions that from what you've said so far? We have a lot of our audience that work with young people, and you've spoken about creating a learning environment, at the clubs that you go to. What are the best tips that you can share with us to create the most effective learning environments?
You must convince the people, the children. You can't tell them to do. You must show them, explain them, support them, forgiving them. I think the worst thing you can do is that you blame someone for making a mistake, because when you are scared to make mistakes, you avoid everything. And it's also a story I had when I managed Linz. We had a friendly game in an international break. A 17-year-old from the academy, because we had players with the national teams. A 17-year-old played left fullback, and had the game. Afterwards, I asked him, how did you see your performance? What do you think? How did you play? I think I played great, really good. I didn't make any mistake. And I said, that's true. You didn't make a mistake, but 9 of 10 passes you passed back to the center back or to the goalkeeper. My wish would have been, if you show your strengths, go forward. You had no cross in the whole game because you avoided any risk. That's why you didn't make a mistake. My wish is, show why I picked you from the under 18 to play with the first team. And if there are 5 crosses behind the goal, I don't care. But now I don't know, can you do it or not, because you didn't show it. And he was looking at me with huge eyes. And I said, no, don't care about it. Make mistakes, but please show me why you are an academy player and why you want to become a first team player. And this is, and I think, we have to, and we were talking, you said it before, sometimes you need these tough times to make the next step or to learn, yeah? And sometimes you need the mistake. But if you never allow yourself to make a mistake, then, or you are afraid or scared that somebody shouts at you, yeah? This is the opposite, yeah? And so create an atmosphere where you can make a mistake. That doesn't mean that everything is allowed, yeah? But if you can see a child gives all his effort, but maybe it's not good enough, or whatever, yeah, then it is. It's no problem, yeah? But yeah, if somebody doesn't show an effort, this is also what I don't like. This is what, then I'm also talking to the players, and then I say, okay, I think this is what we shouldn't allow, in our group, that we play with less effort. Because this is what we can demand from each other. And the players can demand it from me as well, that Oliver Glasner, with his full staff, gives all his effort to be successful. And also for me, I'm always watching if it goes into the right direction. For example, we sometimes we do some shooting competitions, young against old or something like this, and then playing for a barbecue. Yeah, and then when it's sunny weather and it's more and more here in London, then we have a barbecue and at our training ground. An external one comes and we get burgers and we had this also in autumn, and then I don't look at the players what they're eating and blah, blah. But I have my office and I can see out of the window, and there was the barbecue, and 2 hours later there was a table, I think with 6 or 7 players, still sitting there, joking, having fun, sitting in the sun, laughing together. And I looked down and I went to my staff and I said, hey, everything is good. Yeah, because if nobody told them you have to stay. Yeah, but if you like to stay in your office, yeah, then you have a good environment, yeah, because otherwise you come on the, so it's the same, we have report time when we train at 11, report time at 9:30. The first are sitting at 8:30 at the breakfast table, yeah, and the latest are leaving sometimes at 5. So if you say, you can come at 9:30 and leave maybe by 1 if you want, yeah. And and I never tell them, you have to eat here, you have to do this, because we want to create an environment where they want to stay here. Yeah, and this is not Oliver Glasner, alone. I think I can influence it, but this is the whole stuff. Yeah, it's the good people around here, and everyone who is at the training ground, and this is from the security, the medical department, and everything. That we give our best in our job, but we also enjoy the time together.
Brilliant. Time for some quick fire questions to wrap up with. What are the 3 non-negotiable behaviours that are most important to you?
Respect, honesty. I don't know if it's in behavior, but humbleness.
Yeah, nice.
What would you tell a 15-year-old Oliver just starting out?
Express yourself, be yourself, and trust in yourself.
If you could go back to one moment in your life, where would you go and why?
I would like to go back when I met my wife the first time, but not to change it. So it was 4.
Be careful.
No, it was 4 in the morning. We were both really drunken, and it was a cool night.
Oh, that's nice.
What's the single best piece of advice that you've ever received, and why?
Stay Oliver Glasner. Be Oliver Glasner. Be authentic and be yourself.
The final question, your one golden rule for living a high-performance life.
Enjoy what you're doing. Love what you're doing. This is the advice I give to my children. And when we talk about, and this is maybe what is the most what's the biggest value in your life, then it's usually your family. In my case, it's my family and my children. And of course, you want the best for your children. And I'm always telling them, try to find what you love, because this is the best thing you can. And I tell them, I hate this work-life balance, because work is a huge part of life. And if you separate it, you always feel either I'm working or I'm living.
Yeah.
But I'm living my work and I'm working my life. And I tell my kids, my children, look and take your time to find what you love to do, because then it never feels you have to go to work, because you live your life and your job is a huge part of your life and you enjoy what you're doing.
Brilliant. You know what? I've loved that conversation, because I think that what your mastery is giving people like freedom, like almost accepting that what will be will be. Whether it's the stuff you deal with in football, like is Mark Gahey going to stay at Crystal Palace or not? Is Eze going to be your best player of the season, improving, Mateta and Lacroix, who look amazing under you? Or whether it's what will happen in an FA Cup semi-final, or what will happen in a specific incident in a game, or the Bayern staff, or, where's next in your management career. I just think your real skill is that you allow things to happen. You don't try and control everything. You just want the very best. And as long as you offer your best, what will be will be. And I think that is incredible.
Thank you very much. But, I think what you said now is also now, because if you give your best, I think you get your best. You get the best. If you don't give anything, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
And so I think this, and what can we influence? What we are giving. But some words you are mentioning is sometimes, because I'm on a really great journey also in my job, and learning not to control everything.
Yeah.
It's hard for me, because when I started my manager career, I tried to control everything, because everything they were eating, everything they were doing, and sleep enough, and this and this and this. And I could see that, first of all, I can't control. And the second thing, it's not necessary to control it. And so then I hopefully developed into the right direction. And it was really funny, maybe the last story from my side, because we spoke about it when I visited the Frankfurt lads here. We had the quarterfinal at Betis Seville, and usually we travel there. That we have latest time of lunch 7. We don't eat too close to sleep. But okay, we're a little bit delayed. I think it was 7:30. We had dinner. took about 1 hour, and the game was Thursday, it's a Wednesday's Champions League, and there were a meeting room, and we were watching Champions League. The staff, few members of the staff, and some players. But of course, the most experienced one, they watched Champions League. So, and 30 minutes before, dinner was over. And all of a sudden, Champions League starts. The waiter comes in. Who ordered jamon? Who ordered jamon? And I said to him, come on, what the hell? Who ordered ham? Jamon. We just had dinner. And you know that the Spanish ham, it's used the oil and then the fat. And the waiter comes in, and the experienced players, the captain said, it's for us, it's for us. And I said to myself, come on, what are they doing? We did just, but I said, okay, they're experienced. Hopefully they know what they're doing. So we were winning 2-1. I think one of the best games. We could have won 5 or 6-1. Also going into the next round. So next round was the quarterfinal. So it was the round of last 16. Next game, quarterfinal, we play Barcelona away. So in Spain again. Same procedure the day before the game. What do you think happened in the meeting room?
Jamon
y queso. So also, and they came in, and the funny thing is, also we in the staff, we also would like to have one. So it became, before the final at Seville, it was the third time in Spain, it happened again. And I thought by myself, Oliver, God bless you that you didn't say anything, because it didn't have any bad influence. We won every away game, and it was fine. So sometimes it's better, don't talk, just accept and be calm.
Brilliant.
What a way to end. Oliver, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a great conversation. Brilliant.
Thank you.
You know what I really love? Sitting in this room, having the incredible conversations that you get to watch on High Performance. But something else I love is taking the lessons and the learnings from the likes of KSI and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Matthew McConaughey and all these other incredible guests we've had on High Performance, and taking them out to you, to your businesses, to your people. And whether it's sitting around a small group of 6 senior leaders, or maybe in an auditorium with 2,000 or 3,000 staff members, myself and Damien just love helping you and your people get closer to your own version of high performance. And we've done it in Germany, in Dubai, in North America, in South Africa, you name it. We've traveled the world sharing our message of high performance. And if you'd love us to come and work with you and your business, all you have to do is hit the link in the description, and we will be with you, getting you and your team closer to high performance.